Hello and welcome. It is Wednesday, 29th day of January 2020. My name is Derek. This is the Money Charts channel. All bets, trades of the like with others within each's own risk and their own rewards. So we've seen just the fact that it hits these Fibonacci lines I drew in like long time ago is hitting the way it is just yada yada, whatever, it's luck. So it hits resistance at 18 and a quarter area, and then it comes down to 17 and 2/5. And what's interesting about what we see in here, what I see is a long period of sideways consolidation after coming down to these lows yesterday, so the entire day. Not much of a range as far as this volatility with a 54-cent high and then the low around this 40, so just a little under 1% of a range. However, in this hour session that just passed, it got above the 18 average of highs, and so far it's not rejecting the gains, it's holding in there basically. And that's an interesting situation. And when I think about situational analysis, this is where if you get the idea of, okay, well, how does this do historically? And computers can do this. I'm not going to figure this stuff out, but you can almost tell the computer, okay, I'm looking for spots where it's in some sort of consolidation pattern within the 18, sideways trend or whatever. And then it has a break above it, gets above, makes a higher high, and then it goes up to whatever rate of ascent that's not too big. And then it makes sure it closes the period, and we'll see where it closes, if it rejects it or not. But we have a closed period where it closes above it. Then, of course, it doesn't go below it or much below it. Like as you can see here, we just seen it hit the 18 average of highs. The low just recently coming in at 52 cents. And the 18 average of highs is in at 52 cents. So 52.3 even. So a hit on that. So what would this pattern say historically? And to me, I think it would probably be pretty good. And I don't know what it is, but if you're looking for a possible setup, well, we'll see how this moves going forward. And now let's transition into BTC. This gets very interesting here. All right, then. We have this resistance that was established here. And support, the original level of support, I'm just trying to find my line thing, and here it is. Right in here. The amount of hours, well, this is 1,800 hours yesterday night. And it wasn't until 4 hours here, so 8 hours of just this going sideways from the gain. And this move did not, but close, come back to where it came from. And I find that a little interesting because a little bit of flush out within the market bringing it down, and nothing to even come close to bringing it down or keeping it down. And more analysis within the situation is the last like 7, 8, 9 periods, or since the low at 6 hours this morning. The trend is like this, like a clear up sideways trend, or up directional in this rate of ascent. Okay, that and I see this how it's holding with the 18. This looks very strong to me. As this moves forward, especially because I talk about this just hanging in there, and the daily time frame is just that right now. It is, again, 4 p.m. Markets close at, I think it's 7. So this is 7/8 of the way through the day. It's pretty much game over or day over. 94.75. And from the low, just a little bit ago in here, what has happened is it retraced more than 100% to previous high. It's retracing probably around 120, 130, whatever. It's greater because it's gotten above resistance. It doesn't resist the 18 average of highs. Rather, it continues going higher. And it doesn't even resist this. Exitation of the 18. So now we're talking about this high, and this high, and this high, and this high. So a series of a whole bunch of highs. And really long term, that's what the game has always been. over the last couple of years. I'll go over that a bit. Before we do that, I'm going to go back to the short term, draw that line in again, and say here. So it got up to that resistance here. And getting above it, it's been holding and staying above it. Again, like I say, not going back to where we came from. Well, that was a big, big area for where it did. And if we get a good excitation here on this 18, getting above 94.30, 94.50 area. So if you see this go up another percent from where we stand, this could get relatively interesting. So as far as what I mean about a collection of all of those highs, let's just probably think the... maybe it's been so long at the 3-day. Yeah. So we're talking about all these previous highs in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we have from this low, well, this high was no problem. A little bit of congestion at this one, but got above that. Hey. We supported it, and then we resisted it, and now we're coming back to it now. We've already gotten above that high. And looks like it pierced above, but matching, we'll call it, that one there. And really all that's left are these two, I guess, is the... I mean, we've hit all but just really the one for the most part. So that just tells you how strong of counter trend move this was. Counter trend to this down move. It retraced well more than 61.8% of its move. And then it didn't give much of it back here, because as this looks in here within the 18 and how this is the excitation on here, if you're looking to get into Bitcoin, you're waiting for good prices, I don't know what else to say. Now let's transition into Dash against Bitcoin, which had some interesting volume on January the 4th, and then some nice follow-through moves. What has happened from this fact? I put some lines in, and Fibonacci lines, all that type of stuff, but it's getting above this nice little level here. Today's time frame. This is triple day. So let's just take a look at this on the daily. That looks better. So on this point of view, there's the big volume that started coming in at January 4th. The price has already done well better than double since then. Having some volume on this big day here, but now we had this market correct through time on lower volume, and it's got potential moving forward here. It's corrected it very effectively, and another shot getting above the 18 average of highs here. This to me is very, very live. So all the times I've been saying, oh, wait till we, okay, yada yada happens, we go to a key level, what do we do here? This is an interesting situation for it here. First, again, the fact that this level of support is doing what this line is doing, and I mean, it's just luck that I just happened to put lines in here and they just hit like that, but yada yada on that. We get above resistance and an amazing move on this one. Now this high here, we already tested this level, pierced below it. So the fact that we're having a test of this, to me, is not what it is. Because right here, this high has now barely pierced above the high that it set a couple mornings ago. But because we hit this high here at 11 o'clock this morning, and it's been 5 hours, we've had a little bit of a correction and we're rallying above it. It's a wild card situation. I wouldn't be surprised if in the next, rest of the day, that this continues to keep going. Now, it could continue its trend. Concise move is why I like to say concise over fast sometimes, because a concise move might take a few periods. We have maybe over the next 6 periods, a couple of them will be red or 3 of them will be red. The 18 average is going to rise up to it, or it's going to come down to the 18. Maybe we even have a quick sell-off down to 1278. And you could even have situations where Bitcoin might have a huge sharp rally. Maybe Bitcoin goes up 5% in 5 hours. And during the 5-hour period, this goes back to where it comes from at 12,665. There's so many situations that can come into play. And of course, in the situation I'm talking about, keeping it in a bullish environment. But as this plays out, this is now becomes a statement that if you're listening, it's so easy to understand. This has been in nothing more than a long downtrend from these highs. And the only attempts since it's been failing is now and then, literally, in singular form. It established support in here. It has never tested this as resistance, at least not as of yet. That's something to keep in mind. For it to get there now, it has to almost 3x bit. But you can see in here it was an uptrend to get to this point, comes back down to the 18, where it comes to the support it established first, and thus hit many times later after that. But after that time frame, it wasn't able to get above the 18 average of highs for too much, and never did it even retest anywhere near where the previous high was. It had a failed breakdown in October of 2017, but wasn't able to do anything more than just keep this neutral level in play. It started its low volatility here with the April Fool's rally, and then that's of course the concise downtrend. So therefore, it was above the 18 average of highs here. It never was again until here. So now and then, this is then. Now, I'm not going to count this because it wasn't able to do anything more than just barely go in there, and that doesn't count. But from that point, there's the hold area. We can see it resisted it for quite a while. Net result after the fact was all of this. Now, which looks like a bigger move? This one or the first one, the now or the then? The answer is the then, because you see how much... No, it's not. It's this one. Okay, so we have a very big, concise, big move. It's either going to succeed or it's going to fail. So we already know failed moves comes fast moves in the opposite direction. So if it's a failed move, obviously the 18 average of lows, something like this little area, 61.8, even 76.4% from this low to wherever this high happens to be. Right now that high is about 165. That's your must hold area. If it doesn't hold, you see weakness amongst it. Just like in here, you were seeing the weakness in here. Well, then you can make a good bet that it's going to break support. It's going to be a decent break. So you're talking about going down and maybe testing this little area in here. If, of course, the verdict ends up being that of a failed move. If it's a successful move, I don't know what's going to happen if we're going to have just 2-3 periods from now. This thing's going to make its play. Concise move could take 2 periods, 1 period, 12, 20 periods, 25. A concise move would be higher highs and higher lows and things like that. It could be 2 periods where just, oh my goodness, just like this is a concise move here. It was fast. But maybe the story comes into play where now or when it gets to this resistance, it comes back down and it reaches the 18. And then we have another leg up to this point, and then it comes back down again. And then we go sideways for a bit, and then it goes up again. And that just takes this is the weekly time frame. Maybe it takes the rest of the year, or the majority of the year. And then maybe if it's a real move, it'll happen before, I don't know, like 4 weeks type thing. It's tough to say because when these cryptos go, they can go like magnificent. The whole point of it is, if it's a real move, how much empty space has it filled, and how much empty space could it still fill? If it hits a 61.8% correction, we're talking about coming up to here. And how many times have we seen markets go to where we came from? So we come up here, level of resistance. What do we do now? And a lot of this is like, I don't know. It's a question mark moment. Because I know if it does come up here, maybe it comes back down. Maybe that's a big resistance, a high I'll never see again, or it'll be, and it'll just go way down forever. Maybe it'll be something like this and it'll keep going up. Maybe it's not even resistance and it just keeps going to this point. And then maybe it doesn't even retrace 100%, it retraces more and it just keeps going higher. So how much of it fills on a move like this? Well, time would only tell, and unless you give me any other type of information, I'd have no idea. But I do realize that everything, like I stated, fast moves can come in. These markets go up and down, so I'm just going to take mathematical advantage of the numbers and trade them the way that I like to trade them. Now let's change this up. Not Dash against Bitcoin, but Dash against Tezos. And I've been trading this, and it's been fun, actually. I've been enjoying its movements of it. This is the weekly time frame, and you might be able to see the 18 average of highs and lows in here. So it's just starting to get some data. On the daily chart, again, you can just see the volatility, just how fun this trading game is. When you have a market that can go from 82 down to 26, back up to, well, this time it looks like 97, back down to 63, and right now it looks like we're having an excitation of the 18 average of highs on this example. So what caused such a big decline here from November all the way to December and such a huge rise? Well, Dash has been rising recently, so that's one good reason. And when looking at Tezos against Bitcoin, well, roughly around right from the start of November here, oh, this went up. So it wasn't the fact that Dash went down, it was, well, Tezos went from under 1,000 to like 2,500. And then this is going down when Dash is going up. I mean, okay, yada yada. I'll just make a little bit here and there. Now, while we're at Tezos, we've been attempting to get this thing back in a bull market. At least, well, the market is, we'll say, doing that. However, hasn't failed. It's not looking so great at this point. Or it looks like we might be hitting a price down to the 1293 level. We'll see what happens then, because that's like the real must-hold area, the 61.8%. And within today's session, we can see it already rallied up to the 18 average of highs and is pulled back. So it's got one of those not so great looking periods. Day number 3 really of testing the 18 average of lows in the 1687 handle. And within this move, it's one of those automatic rejection sessions. And when you see it, every time it breaks out, you know, okay, now it's attempting it, it's got to hold it, and you can just see just around in here, and well, it's not doing it. And over the last several hours in here, it's a weak signal to me. This thing looks as if it might be ready for this failed breakout and fast move lower. And well, until then, we got the previous low here at 1500. And whether we find support there or not, more times than not, you do, actually. Whether you will or not, well, the not situations is that, well, you have a little bit of support maybe here at 1580, but it's just unlikely it's going to be 1580. If it's going to come down here, it's probably going to go in this area here. Might be a pierce above around 1533. It might be like pretty much an exact hit, even a pierce below, like 1460 is an exact hit, and then pop in and then bottom in that area. But if you don't find support there, and anytime you don't resist or support where you're supposed to, and well, that means key leg lower, key decent size, and that 1293, it seems just about right to me for if it's going to break below here for where it would go next. And how you use that to your advantage based on the situational timing and all these things, well, there's so many creative ways it can be done, and it's up to you to determine how that can be effective if that's something, of course, you want to utilize as far as just making profits and really a game. It's a trading game where you can flip coins, however you do it, back and forth, and really overperform the market. And yeah, that's really not much more that I want to go over, at least not for this particular video. I'd like to thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.